All right, we're here with Rob McCullough, Razor Rob, and a lot going on right now. First of all, there's a video circulating on YouTube about you and a certain fish hook in your thumb. Why don't you tell me what happened there?
Yeah, that was my my bachelor party in Catalina last week. It ended up, we all went fishing, me and a bunch of my friends, Tito and TV and a bunch of other my friends from the gym. And we got back in the morning, the one thing we caught was myself. You hear about it, but I actually lived it. Stuck a fish hook right through my thumb and videoed the whole thing. And Tito was fortunate enough to put it on YouTube.
So first thing before you took the hook out, let me get this right, is get the camera, we're taping this.
I went, oh man, I can't believe that just happened. You can hear about it when you're a kid, like, careful with fish hooks, but this thing went straight clear through my thumb. And that first thing out of Tito's mouth was, oh, go get the camera. And if you guys go put Razor Rob getting hooked, you'll see it. It's pretty funny.
And then the other thing about that trip, so you're supposed to be out there catching fish, you run out of bait, and how'd you guys get some extra bait?
We were chumming for sharks at this point. We had given up on looking for marlin or anything else, or tuna, so we were chumming for sharks, and we've been doing it for about 30 minutes, blood and fish guts off the side of the boat, and our last piece of bait dropped in the water on accident. So Tito thought about it for about a minute, and took his shirt off, jumped in after it, and we're like, you just jump in the water when we're chumming for sharks? And I pulled out this big dead fish that we had caught. And we're like, I want to get out of the water before you get eaten by a shark. And then I caught a blue shark after that, so it's pretty cool.
See, the shark almost caught Tito though. That's the point.
It was a baby shark. And the best part is, after we hooked it, he reached in the water and like palmed its head and pulled it out of the water, which was pretty funny.
So speaking of your bachelor party, and you and your beautiful girlfriend are getting married.
Yes.
October 17th.
October 18th.
October 18th.
Yep.
Yeah.
October 18th we're getting married and have a baby due February 19th. Baby boy named Cruz.
And you know for sure it's a boy now?
No, for sure it's a boy. 10 fingers, 10 toes.
and how do you feel about that? You gotta be excited.
I'm excited. I hope we have a little girl next, so one of each.
So this is just getting started.
Yes.
All right.
Just two. We're just having two though.
And so that's October 18th.
That's October 18th.
And the fight's on November
18th. Yeah. So my honeymoon will be in the cage, which is great with me.
And so that's Anthony Pettis. He's undefeated.
Anthony Pettis, undefeated. Good stand-up. He's got triangle submissions on his record as some of his wins. So it looks to be a good war. Good fight. I think he hasn't fought a guy at my level or my caliber yet. So I think it's going to be a rude awakening come November 18th for him.
Yeah, that's it's one of these things. These guys want to make a name for themselves, early on in their careers, and he's going in against a former champ with only 7 fights on his record. I mean, you don't see that in any other sport where a guy could just go to the elite level right like that. I mean,
yeah, I mean that's the only one way to get a name. When I first started, I had one smoker fight and I fought my pro-am fight the next one, and I did really well. I think people at first served me up to just as meat, and then I started knocking people out. All of a sudden I was a contender. So I mean that's just the fast track on how to do it.
And so you did that yourself. You had to go out and take out name guys.
I did it myself, except for this is going to be a rude awakening for him. So
yeah. And let's see now. Give me an idea of some of the guys you're training with. You talked about one, Navarro. What's his first name again?
Mario Navarro.
Yep.
Good stand-up kid. Good on the ground.
As we get run over by a truck.
As we get dieseled by Bigfoot. Zach Light, good for wrestling, good ground and pound guy. I've been training with him a lot, and then I got a lot of up and coming fighters, John Mercurio, and some other guys that are just working their way up through the ranks. So I got a lot of bodies to work with. And
like today, you sparred. Give me an idea what that's like. I've seen you do that before. It's like you have different guys coming at you, like
I usually do 5-minute rounds. I start off with a 3-mile run. I stretch real well, and then we work positions first. I work positions for almost an hour, and then we went live for 25 minutes. Every 5 minutes, different guy. I'm just working situations and stuff like that.
So fresh guy, fresh guy after the next.
Yeah. That way, even if you get caught, with stupid stuff, you go right back and you start doing it again. Some guys, you do it, and if they're not in fight shape, you just wear them out.
Yeah.
So it's better to keep getting fresh guys.
When I saw you do that one time, it looked like you were just getting mugged. Like you were walking on the street and they just had one fresh guy after the next taking you out.
Yeah, that's fun though. But then you think about that, and the reality is you're only going to fight one guy in a cage for a certain amount of time. So you go in there going, okay, this isn't going to be 5 different guys, 5 different fresh guys. This is going to be one guy for 15 minutes. You know what I mean?
So you're basically trying to find the hardest possible scenarios. So then when you get in the cage, it's never going to be as hard, right?
Yeah, I train for the worst case scenario. You know what I mean? And expect the best. But you put yourself in, you start with a guy in the mounting you. You start with a guy having you in an arm bar and a triangle, starting with you on your back. After I've already ran 3 miles and already done all this drilling stuff, so you're already kind of in fatigue. Then everything else just kind of becomes a reaction.
Yeah.
And that's what fighting has to be. There has to be a reaction. It's not a thought. If it's a thought process, it took too long.
If you thought, it's over.
Yeah, if you thought about it, it took too long, and you're one step behind.
That brings me to what you were talking about earlier too. Is you have these guys come in, they want to be fighters. That's the hot thing right now. They don't realize, like, give an idea of how many years you put in, what you made the first time you stepped in the ring.
I mean, literally the first time that I ever fought, I fought after I did a smoker fight, which is, if you don't know what a smoker fight is, that's where you just show up at a gym, you get on a scale, you bring your own shin pads, your own headgear, and 16-ounce gloves, and then they match you up with someone who has the same weight as you. And if he's lying or if he's not lying, you don't know. That's why it's a smoker fight. You go on, how many fights he says he has, and they match you up. Your coach is cool with it, with his coach, and you guys get in there and you go, 3 rounds. I think it's 3 3-minute rounds. And I did one of those, and then I went straight into I got a T-shirt for it. And then the next fight I did a month later, I fought at the Four Queens. It was a pro-am fight. It was on local Vegas channel, and I knocked the guy out. But I got $100 in a hotel room. And
That's it.
Yeah, and I was, that was 1996, and I was so happy, and I was like, wow, that was rad. But $100.
Yeah.
Nowadays, there's kids out there that I'm not doing nothing for $1,500 or. Man.
They don't realize they still got to pay their dues. You can't just walk in to step on Spike TV and fight, right?
Yeah, that's kind of the big thing. A lot of people sign up at the gym, and then I want to be in the UFC, and it's like, you're missing a few things here. There's a few exceptions. There's a few exceptions. Some of the guys that maybe are really good at wrestling, they have a background in it, but some of these guys, they watch it, and you're like, oh, I could do that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
the reality is.
So when you get your gym membership, it doesn't come with a membership to the UFC or the WEC?
Yeah, unfortunately not. But if you put the work in, the funny thing is, you look at any black belt guy or any world champion, it was the same nobody guy that came to the gym and just never left. He probably got beat up quite a few times before he actually got that stuff.
Yeah, that's
the
true.
one thing. So.
The other thing I wanted to bring up to you is about a week and a half ago we had the UFC 103. On the same night, also on pay-per-view, was Floyd Mayweather against Juan Manuel Marquez, and everybody was going back and forth on each other. Top Ranks, Bob Arum was calling MMA fighters homos and skinheads, and Dana White was trashing Mayweather, and it was out of control. What's your take on the whole thing? I watched them both.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to watch them both too. I watched them downtown here in Huntington Beach at Beachfront 301. And they have TV screens all over the place. So I sat down in a booth and got to watch both fights. One next TV screen next to TV screen. And when it came up to the fight with Mayweather and Marquez, the owner's like, "What should we do?" And I'm like, "Put on the audio for the boxing fight." And we sat there and watched it. And as I started to watch it, I started realizing, he didn't make weight, and he fought a guy who was coming up in weight, and he was supposed to be coming down, but he actually didn't make it. He fought a guy who wasn't going to be as fast as him, and I started thinking, man, I'm like, as much as it was very anticlimactic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as you watch it from screen to screen, even these no-named UFC guys, they're just, first fight in the UFC, were going to war. And, they're on the feet, they're on the ground. And then it's like the boxing match, it's kind of like, there's a lot more action going on in the mixed martial arts. Maybe I'm being a little biased, but that's kind of the way I saw it. And I was like, it was still a great night of fighting.
Yeah.
You had boxing and you had MMA.
No, but I think you're right on. If you're sitting there watching them side by side, UFC had everything was knockouts and craziness.
Yeah,
and,
it was. I don't think any fight went to a complete, full fight, like
Yeah.
decision. It was war out there.
That's crazy.
That's cool.
And what's your take on when you hear like somebody like Top Rank's Bob Arum? I mean, that guy's been promoting fights since he promoted Muhammad Ali, and he makes these comments about MMA fighters. You know, I'm sure you saw the interview or heard about it.
I heard a little here and heard a little there. He's just trying to solidify his position, keep those paychecks rolling in for himself. But I mean, the reality is that boxing's dying, if not already dead. So he's gonna try to save as much as he can. It's still an art form, and if you really get into it, it's one aspect of mixed martial arts. But like I said, it is one aspect of mixed martial arts. There's so much more now in the game. If you become a fan, you can really, you got to respect boxing, but mixed martial arts is so much more. It's the reality.
Puts it all in there.
Yeah, it's everything. You're on your feet, you're on the ground, you're all over the place.
So where can fans go to keep track of you? Give your websites and
you can follow me. You go to razorclothing.tv. I got a Twitter on there. I got Facebook on there. All the little icons you can click on there and follow me on there too.
And you actually go on there and update them all the time.
Oh
too.
yeah, I'm on there every. People are like, dude, I'm like the commercial, like the dad sitting there. I am sitting on the porch. That's me.
Right on, man. Well, thanks again for another edition of the Razor's Edge.
Hope the show.